nobody else other than pitchers available on the bench. Jesse Levis now catching. Now the man who decided that, or really who thought that it was a good idea to put Jose Mesa in the bullpen in the first place when they were both with Cleveland, Phil Regan, the current pitching coach again for Cleveland, back to the mound to talk to 22-year-old David Risky. Raul Ibanez hitting .254 with 3 home runs this year, 4 for 17 as a pinch hitter. Seattle traded David Segui to Toronto trading deadline. A lot of lost offense right there. Segui didn't hit a whole lot of home runs, but hit around 300 and hit a lot of doubles and was a switch hitter. Although ironically been hurt almost ever since he got to Toronto. Here's Ibanez. 0-1. Said that Risky is kind of sneaky fast, Joe. He's not overpoweringly fast, but he's blowing that fastball past people. 0-2.
Looks pretty overpowering to me. But you're right. I mean, 92 miles an hour is not a great fastball, but it depends on how he sets it up. By that I mean he short arms the ball a little bit. You don't get a chance to pick it up as quickly as you'd like. That makes it a little faster than it actually appears on the radar gun.
David Bell is on deck. And a 3-pitch strikeout.
And that's exactly what he does. I mean, he kind of short arms the ball, Johnny, hides it, then he comes out of here with it, and it's just very difficult to pick it up. So you can't find the ball until it's already out there. His arm has released it, and that's what makes it difficult to pick up, and that's why that 92-mile-an-hour fastball actually appears to be about 96 miles an hour.
Risky has struck out 3 of the 4 batters that he's retired since he came into the game. David Bell, the hitter, had 16 home runs this year. Everybody's been swinging at it without hitting it, so Bell takes it, but it was in there. Bell is 0 for 4 tonight. .4, 9th inning. If there is a 10th inning, Omar Vizquel, Manny Ramirez, and Richie Sexson would be coming up for Cleveland. The swing, no. First base umpire Terry Kraft in the appeal rules in favor of Bell. A pretty good looking pitch, though. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kayerga hugging the line deep at third. Comey on the bag at first with the runner. Strike 2 on the outside.
Well, he's throwing nothing but fastballs, but he's spotting it and moving it in and out, even up and down. So he's doing a great job in that respect.
Hit deep into center field. But that's the wrong place to hit it here. Roberts has it near the warning track. There has not yet been a single home run that has gone over that center field wall at Safeco Field. Overtime coming up into the 10th inning with Vizquel, Ramirez, and Sexson. The game is tied at 4. Piazza, 7:30 Eastern. Then the Detroit Tigers, Dean Palmer with 29 homers up against Griffey, A-Rod, Edgar, and the Mariners right here from Safeco Field at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. On ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Raul Ibanez stays in to play left field for Seattle after he pinch hit for Hunter. And Jose Mesa stays on to pitch to Omar Vizquel, Manny Ramirez, and Richie Sexson. A leadoff walk in the 9th inning, and that was what got Cleveland started. And then a controversial steal, which did not lead to any further scoring, but well, of course the Mariners, their manager.
John, the interesting difference between the two teams. Mesa walked Alomar to lead off the 9th with a lead. They were able to move him around and score him. They walked Russ Davis to lead off the bottom of the ninth for Seattle, and he never moved from first base. That shows you the difference in the two ball clubs. Cleveland's able to move guys, and the Mariners are so used to hitting the ball out of the ballpark, that's the way they play.
Continues to be a problem. It would be a much bigger problem, as you pointed out, in this ballpark. Deep and foul by Omar Vizquel. Omar has not been a home run hitter at any time in his career, and yet twice this year he has hit game-winning home runs that ended games at Jacobs Field.
Well, he knows when to go for it.
He's hit all 3 of his home runs this year left-handed.
He was going for it again.
Yeah. Soaring pop-up. David Bell, number 1.
Well, you can see the difference in his swing. He's been just, swinging, trying to hit a little line drives. He turns, opens his hips, tries to jerk this one, as he jerked the pitch before, foul.
Manny Ramirez became the second man to go into the upper deck here at Safeco Field, back in the 6th inning against Jamie Moyer. Well up there, several rows into the upper deck. Ramirez also has hit a double. He is 2 for 4 in this game, facing his old teammate Jose Mesa. Slider over the outside, 0-1. By the way, we're talking about Omar Vizquel. In his last 24 games, Omar has had 41 hits in 103 at bats, right around 400 average in that time. But Omar is gone. Ooh. Came after him, Manny gave it the big rip.
I think that's the way you have to pitch him. If you have that good fastball, you got to stay in tight on him.
Oh, and 2 the count to Manny Ramirez, Major League's leading RBI man. Added 1 to his total tonight. 125 driven in. The Mariners, by the way, will have Lampkin, Griffey, and Rodriguez up in their half of the 10th. Hello. Cleveland would really like to score here, because the Mariners will be sending the real heavy offense up there in their half of the 10th. Against young David Risky. Griffey due up second. A-Rod third. Sexson on deck here for Cleveland. 1-2 the count. Hung that breaking ball, but out of the strike zone. 2-2.
Well, he went off the plate inside with the fastball, and then he was going to try to throw a slider or breaking ball right on the outside corner, and he missed. I think it was a splitter because he didn't do much of anything.
2-2. The train going by outside. Sexson, he's on deck. So is Jim Thome, for that matter. 3-2 the count. And he walks it.
Well, that's a tough walk right there. He went from 0-2 to ball 4 to walking him, and they didn't even make him swing again.
Richie Sexson, I think your train just left.
You're right.
Sorry. I was hoping they'd hold it up for you. Richie Sexson 0 for 3 with a walk. Very dangerous hitter. Hit a home run into the bullpen in left field here on Friday. One ball and no strikes. 4-4 in the 10th inning. Cleveland with single runs in the 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 9th tonight. The Mariners 2 in the 3rd on a 2-run triple by Griffey, and 2 in the 8th on a 2-run homer by Griffey. in amongst the spectators. Also the first baseman, Ryan Jackson, had come over. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jose Mesa with only his 4th blown save of the year tonight. And I suppose, Joe, there's some teams you could come in and walk the first guy of an inning, but
Yeah.
when it's a 1-run lead and it's the Cleveland Indians, you walk that leadoff man. That's just the opening they need. Mike Jackson watching here in the bullpen. If Cleveland does something serious here, he'll start throwing again. And it would become a safe situation if they score or even if they're about to score. Hit deep in the right center. Buhner going back. This one is gone. And Jackson will start throwing. Richie Sexson goes the other way. The 24th home run of the year for Sexson, the Seattle area native. And his 2nd home run of this series. 6-4 Cleveland.
They got a fastball. It actually wasn't out away from him. It seemed like he was just a little late on it, but he's so strong he just drove it into the right field bleachers.
And there's Jackson. I mean, as soon as that one landed in the stands, he walked to the mound and started throwing. 3rd home run of the game for Cleveland. Here's Tony. That is ball 1. Both of these rallies for Cleveland started with walks from Mesa. He's given up 3 runs in an inning in the 3rd. 2 walks, both of them scored. Sexson now has 24 homers, 83 runs batted in for the year. Jim Thome is 0 for 4 in the game. He struck out 2 times, grounded out once, and popped out once. He's not been able to get the ball out of the infield. 2-0 to Thome. High pop-up. Way up there. Foul. And into the crowd.
So the fastball is down and it's out over the plate. And he just kind of drills it to right field. I mean, he just overpowers it and hits it over the right field wall. Who says this is a big ballpark? Not when Cleveland hits it.
Well, it's interesting. The wind was blowing out toward right during batting practice. But when you stood at the batting cage, the wind was blowing right into your face. The ball was not carrying at all. To right field, or center field, or left center. Now Sinclair, the left-hander, gets up in the Seattle bullpen. Steve Sinclair. 3-1 the count to Thome. 1 out, 2 in. And an appeal denied by Jim Joyce, the third base upright. It's another walk. Thome, who leads the league in walks, gets another one here. And that will bring up Roberto Alomar, who came on as a pinch hitter to start that 9th inning rally to tie the game. It's pinch hit for the DH, so he's able to stay in as the designated hitter. Mike Hargrove, Cleveland manager. His club has the best record in the American League right now. John Hart, their GM, says that he's not at this point so much interested in the race for the best record in the league for home field advantage. He says what they'd like to do, number 1, is just get healthy, get everybody back and get their timing back, get all their hitters in there, get their pitching set up, and then they'd also would like to have the best record for the home field advantage. But even with all the injuries, they have the best record. Stan Williams is going to bring in Sinclair, the left-hander. Steve Sinclair will come on to face Roberto Alomar, a switch hitter, and Baerga, another switch hitter behind him. Tough night for Jose Mesa, the former Cleveland Indian. Cleveland ahead 6-4 over the Seattle Mariners as we play the top of the 10th inning. Stay tuned right after the game. Sports Center with Dan Patrick and Linda Cohn. They've had a little extra time now to really finely hone their scripts and make sure just the right highlights. One of them will be Mark McGwire hitting number 50 for the 4th consecutive year. He did it at Shea Stadium, just as he did last year at Shea. Some Dennis Rodman news, and Joe Morgan has the Sunday night conversation with Alex Rodriguez. who will be the third hitter for the Mariners right after Ken Griffey Jr. in the last half of this inning. There is Steve Sinclair, young left-hander from Victoria, British Columbia, just up the road a ways here from Seattle. He's on to face Roberto Alomar. Drops one in the dirt, as did Alomar. Sinclair started his career with the Toronto Blue Jays. Sinclair inherits a runner at first base, Jim Thome, being held in the bag over there by Ryan Jackson. Alomar walked to start the ninth inning as a pinch hitter and scored the tying run of the game. In the trade that sent David Segui to Toronto, the Mariners acquired a couple of young arms. Sinclair, one of them, and the other Tom Davey. That one is cracked deep into left center field, and Ibanez, not quite. Nearly a spectacular catch. Thome for third, and he'll be held there by Newman, and Alomar is into second. Ibanez a little slow in getting up out there. Man, that was almost a spectacular catch.
Yeah, but if Alomar drilled that ball to left center field, that's pretty long ways out there, but it hit more like a line drive, and Ibanez didn't have time to get back and get under it. Fastball down, and he just drills it to left center field. I think he thought he got enough of it to get it out of there. But a nice try by Ibanez. Right here, actually hits off his glove. Seems to be okay.
Rattled his bones a little bit, and I'm glad to see that he seemed to be all right. A double for Alomar. Yeah, you saw the way Alomar broke away from the plate. He thought it was going out.
Yeah.
This is a tough ballpark to hit one out, although Cleveland's hit 3 of them tonight. Now Baerga is going to be walked intentionally with the left-handed batting Jesse Levis on deck. This is like the old days. Baerga getting clutch hit for Cleveland. And they walk him intentionally to go after somebody else. Like the old days when he was an all-star for Cleveland. But tonight, Richie Sexson, the native of Washington, back in his home state. I'm sure he had a lot of family and friends here watching the game tonight. And his big 2-run homer here in the 10th inning has put Cleveland ahead. Sexson, the Washingtonian, perhaps with a game-winning homer. If it is, that man, David Riskey, also from Washington, would get the win. He lives in Kent, Washington. Sexson is from Brush Prairie, Washington. So Thome at third. There's Alomar at second. Baerga at first. The bases are loaded. Here is Jesse Levis, catcher, up for the first time in the game, hitting 200 in the big leagues this year. 4 for 20. Middle infield looking for the double play. Sinclair bounces one in there. Sinclair pitched pretty well for the Mariners, actually. 3.52 ERA. He had not pitched that well in the few times he had been in the big leagues with Toronto this year. Piniella, in fact, said he was pleasantly surprised with Sinclair's arm. That one misses. 2-0.
Well, this is one of the problems you have when you walk the bases loaded. You do not give the pitcher a lot of margin for error. I understand the situation. They're trying to get out of this jam with only the 2-run scoring, but a lot of young pitchers have trouble with the bases loaded.
3-0. Dave Roberts, the leadoff man, is on deck. Well, the bases on balls here in the last 2 innings of this game have been destroying the Mariners. Yesterday, a tight ball game into the 8th inning with rookie Gil Mesh on the mound for Seattle. Then they went to the bullpen in the 8th, and a 2-0 game became a 6-0 game. And he has walked in a run on 4 pitches. Thome in to score. 3 runs are in. And of course, what's happening here is, I mean, you've got Griffey and Rodriguez both coming up in the last of the inning, but now they've taken it out of the, or started to take it out of the realm of them being able to personally do something about it. Todd Williams Warming up in the bullpen for Seattle. Stan Williams, the pitching coach, goes to the mound. You got another lefty up here, Dave Roberts. Jesse Levis with his 3rd RBI of the season, and he never had to swing the bat together. By the way, that is also the 22nd time this year that the Mariners have issued a bases loaded walk. The average for all the other teams in baseball is less than 8 bases loaded walks shown this year. Seattle has done it 22 times.
Well, if they bring the infield in, they're going to go right to the plate now. They're not even going to try to get a double play here, because it's very difficult to double up Roberts because he's so speedy down the line, but they're going to come right home with it.
0-1 to Roberts. Roberts is 1 for 5. The slider lofted it foul off the 3rd base line. 0-2. Sexson with the big fly. His only hit of the game to put them ahead here. Roberto Alomar at 3rd. Carlos Baerga at 2nd. Jesse Levis at 1st. The infield in all the way around. The 2nd. And Bell goes home. And Wilson had to stretch out to take that throw in time to get Roberto Alomar. Nice play there by Wilson.
Well, they knew they couldn't double Roberts up, so they decided to make sure they come home with it. Slider down and away, grounds it to 2nd base. Bell has plenty of time, but his throw is offline, and you see Wilson has to keep his foot on the bag and make on the plate and make the catch, and he does a good job. They didn't have any chance of getting a double play anyway, so you're only going to get one.
Now Enrique Wilson, the 9th hitter of the inning. The infield back in normal depth. Bases still loaded. Nice pitch, knee high, right on the outside corner. 0-1. Enrique drove in the first run of the game with a double into the right field corner in the 3rd inning. And he is 1 for 5. In the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. 7-4 Cleveland. They tied it in the 9th. David Justice came off the bench and hit a sacrifice fly to get the tying run home. And Richie Sexson untied it here in the 10th with a 2-run homer. Too low. 2-1 the count. Cleveland 75 wins and 48 losses this year. The Yankees now 75 and 48. So with a win, Cleveland will remain 1 game ahead of the Yanks. Yanks won today at Minnesota. El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, won his 14th game for the Yanks. Texas won tonight. They're 75 and 50. So any one of those 3 ball clubs is a threat to have the best record in the league and have that home field advantage in the playoffs. Is too low. 3-2. Oakland moved ahead in the American League wild card race with a win today. And the subsequent Red Sox. And there's strike 3 swinging by Wilson. But 3 have scored. Mike Jackson to come on to face Lampkin and Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez. But it is 7-4 Cleveland. Member of the Seattle Mariners. Now the closer for Cleveland. Got 28 saves this year. And giving up a lot of home runs for a closer.
Well, Jackson's stuff, he throws a slider, he throws a fastball, and he pretty much comes after you. All this stuff is hard, so you may give up a few home runs. Here's Sexson on the home run that he hit off of Mesa to right field. You can see he hits it back on the plate, not out in front. With his bat track 89 miles an hour, that's one of the reasons he hits it the other way, because he hits it right on top of the plate rather than getting his bat out in front. Richie Sexson. And
He had made an ill-advised dive for a sinking ball hit by Griffey back in the 3rd inning. Turned what should have been a 1-run single into a 2-run triple. Well, he has more than atoned for that now. Here is Lampkin trying to get on in front of Griffey and A-Rod. The Mariners' best shot is to get a couple of men on for A-Rod at this point. Down by 3. Lampkin started a 2-run 8th inning rally by striking out on a wild pitch. Griffey followed that up with a home run against Paul Assenbach.
And you see Mike Jackson going right after him. He knows he has a 3-run lead. He's going to make sure that he hits his way on.
Oh, and 2 the count. 1-2. Jackson is trying to save this one for young David Riskey, who would be getting his major leagues, his first major league win for the 56th round draft choice out of Green River Community College here in Washington. This does stay alive in that one. Riskey, who had a great start to his season in Double-A ball at Akron. He had a 1.90 ERA there. Promoted to Buffalo in June. He had a 0.79 ERA there. And then brought to the big leagues on August the 9th. Although he did not pitch for several days. Now tonight with a chance for his first major league win. Lampkin, shallow left. Sexson. So Griffey will come up with nobody on. In the 8th inning, it was quite a dramatic moment. With the man aboard, Assenmacher had just come in for the bullpen to face him. The Mariners were down by a run, and Griffey, in true Griffey style, delivered in front of the big crowd. That was his 5th home run here in his new ballpark in his 24th game. He's driven in all 4 of the Mariners' runs tonight and has 105 RBIs for the year. He takes a strike. One thing for Griffey, you pointed it out earlier on with A-Rod sort of hitting behind him as protection for Griffey. Griffey loses a lot of RBI chances because A-Rod, the guy who got on base a lot in front of him.
Exactly. He got on, and Griffey led the league in RBIs a couple of years ago, but you're right, he doesn't have as many opportunities with A-Rod behind him.
Griffey this year he's hit extremely well against the right-hander. He rips that one to right, hanging and caught by Ramirez. It started to knuckle a little bit. He thought he was there, and then it almost dropped in front of him. 2 down. Alex Rodriguez coming up.
Ramirez got a good jump on it, comes in, and he got his glove underneath it, just barely. Well, yeah, he got his glove underneath it.
Big glove.
It is a big glove.
Strike 1 to Alex Rodriguez. Alex 1 for 3 with a walk and a steal. He doubled in the 8th inning, but they could not get him home, and that's where David Riskey earned his win. They were trying to get that little bit of insurance when Riskey came in with 1 out and Rodriguez at second and former batting champion Edgar Martinez at the plate. And Riskey retired Edgar, and then he struck out Jay Buhner. And they had to live with just that 1-run lead, and it was not enough. Baerga stole a base in the 9th inning that resulted in the ejection from the game of Lou Piniella, the former Cleveland All-Star. He was so good that he was in the discussion when people talked about who was the better second baseman. In the American League, was it Roberto Alomar or Baerga? Now he's just trying to find a job in the big leagues. Roberto Alomar starring as big as ever before. Maybe in most ways having his greatest year. Baerga is back in Cleveland where it all started for him. And tonight he got that big hit after the leadoff walk to Roberto Alomar in the 9th inning. It sent Alomar to third and set up the tying run of the game. 2-2 the count. Next Sunday we'll see you in St. Louis. We'll check in on Big Mac as the Cardinals go up against the Atlanta Braves. Hopped up. And Vizquel in front of Wilson, and the ball game is over. So Cleveland makes it 3 in a row over the Mariners here at beautiful new Safeco Field. Richie Sexson, the native of Washington, drives in the winning run with a homer, and the first big league victory of another Washington native, David Riskey, at the Kingdome. Final 7-4 Cleveland. Next Sunday we'll see you from St. Louis, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. The Cardinals and the Braves. Now stay tuned. SportsCenter coming up next.